match at the London Stadium finished West Ham United 1, Crystal Palace 1, and it probably did deserve to be a draw, but it doesn't really tell an awful lot of the story. If you haven't watched the game and you go and look at the stats for the game, they will read that West Ham had 9 shots, I think it was 3 on target. You'll also read that Crystal Palace had 9 shots and had 2 on target. It would seem sort of even Stevens, wouldn't it, in that sense? But make no mistake about it, West Ham really boosted their figures towards the end of the game, because I can't help but think that the Hammers have started to believe in their own hype. I say the Hammers, I mean David Moyes. I think that they've started to believe in his own hype, which is, I'm going to go and win this game at the end. Well, I guess our luck run out in many respects today. And I did feel there was an arrogance to it, actually. The fact that actually we're just going to try and keep this team at arm's length for the majority of the game, and then we're going to win it at the end. Well, we couldn't. In fact, I think David Moyes wanted to win the game at the end, but he didn't know how to, and that was all a little bit weird, it has to be said. We made one substitute, and it was Pablo Fornals for Edson Alvarez in the 87th minute. There were 6 minutes of injury time, just in case you were wondering on that. Overall, it was a pretty insipid display and a pretty poor display from West Ham. At the end, as I say, come the end of final whistle, you could probably say that match deserved to be a draw, but probably up until about the 80th minute, Crystal Palace you could have argued that they deserved to be the team in the lead. If it have just been that game where we performed like that, basically performed badly and we didn't win. Whereas I think certainly against the last 3 games before that, be that the European game, back at Topola, Burnley and Nottingham Forest, I think we performed poorly, but we won. Had it have just been this game, I think I'd be less bothered about it. Maybe I'd put it down to us playing in Europe and being fatigued. Maybe I'd put it down to the fact that we were missing some players. Maybe I'd put it down to the fact that some of the players have had a bit of a bug. I've got a bug myself. I'm a bit energyless at the moment. Maybe I could just look and say, do you know what? That performance is sort of out of character. There is a reason, there's some mitigation why these players were tired during this game. But it just happens all the time. It's just the way we play, and it's as simple as that. And actually, it's probably precious little to do with Europe or the Lurgy or anything else for that matter. It was just a lack of ambition against the team who also had a lack of ambition. I'm not saying Palace were brilliant, far from it, but it was, I guess to throw another cliche at it, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It was West Ham that went into the lead, and it was a good goal. Really, really good goal, by the way. James Ward-Prowse spread the ball really wide to Vladimir Coufal, who had a good game, had his best game in a little while, actually, Coufal. Coufal sort of cut the ball back from very wide sort of right-wing position he'd advanced into. Mohammed Kudus had picked up a really nice bit of space, made a late run onto the edge of the box, carried the ball into the box, and he finished well. It got a little bit of a deflection, but it was, hey, look, these things happen. It was a good goal, really good goal from Ward-Prowse, from Coufal, and of course from Kudus himself. It was a real bright spark on the day, actually. Kudus really tried to take it to the opposition, despite the fact that he was being fouled all the time. And in fact, if we're going to offer up these excuses, well, I think Kudus had as much reason for an excuse as anybody. He'd had a bad back. He'd had a long haul flight. He'd had the illness, the sickness bug, the lurgy or whatever it was. He'd had all of it. He had all the excuses. But I'll tell you what, he put maximum effort in. He was kicked. He was pushed. There was a few calls he didn't get from the referee. He just carried on. His attitude was excellent. And I've got to say, as far as I could see, he played in 3 positions during the game. He started on the right because Bowen started as a striker. We'll get more into the Bowen stuff tomorrow, because I'm looking at Bowen, I'm looking at Paquetá, and I think they've both been moised, quite frankly. He also played centrally from about 78 minutes onwards, and then for the last little bit, maybe injury time, if you like, as David Moyes was just shuffling the deck. I do love the saying rearranging the chairs on the Titanic, because it sounds good. I'm not suggesting we were sinking, but rather than actually change formation or bring fresh players on from the bench, David Moyes was just thinking, I'll move Paquetá around, I'll move Kudus around, I'll move Bowen around. He was just sort of, honestly, it was like the magician with the cups and the balls and or the 3 cards routine. It was a bit like that, really. Kudus finished by playing on the left wing. Kudus did more in 6 minutes on the left wing than I think as a winger, by the way, by going down and actually cutting in and getting... He'd done more than everybody else that's played on the left wing all season. He did more in 6 minutes, I think, than everybody. So, you know what, fair play. I think he played really, really well today. So, you know, congratulations to him. It was good. Look, Palace got an equaliser. It was a humdinger of a mistake from Mavropanos. Bit of sympathy for him. He wasn't terrible today. He wasn't. Thought he'd actually played reasonably well. I thought one of the reasons actually that Soufal had played better during this game was because Mavropanos had a tendency to pass in front of Soufal. So he's telling Soufal sort of where to run. Unfortunately, old Dinos, as we like to call him, he's not Dinos today, he's just plain old Mavropanos. He just passed the ball, pretty much passed the ball into the path of Edouard. He ran onto it, and Alvarez tried to get back and tried to jockey him a little bit, but it was hard. The momentum was with the Palace attacker, and he sort of finished. He finished quite smartly, actually. It wasn't the worst goal in the world. They nearly scored again. It was a bit of a deflected header, if you want, from James Ward-Prowse, which made it go over. Ward-Prowse didn't know anything about it at all. We almost had another goal. Having said that, it was Kudus again, cut in. He was on the right-hand side, cut in with his left foot. It was a goal. He curled it in, but Thomas Souček was deemed to be offside. Now, Souček didn't actually touch the ball at all, but he'd sort of taken a swing at it. Well, you can understand. By the rules of the game, it was offside. I've got no complaints there. There wasn't a lot else happened during the game. I think Elise... I'm not complaining, by the way, about Palace fouling Kudus, because we systematically fouled Elise, and I don't really blame us for doing it. He's such a talented player, such a good player. But ultimately, we did not cause them any bother. As I say, I'll go into the Bowen stuff tomorrow, but suffice to say, he was completely and utterly isolated up front, performing the graveyard shift. Said it numerous times already now. He cannot play up front on his own when we are facing a defensive team. And Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson are a defensive team. He gets bullied, he gets pushed over. There was one point he came drifting into our half to take the ball off the defenders. So he's a striker, by the way, in this game. Funny enough, he looked better for the last couple of minutes when he was deployed out on the right-hand side, and he did get a chance towards the end, but it was hard for him to get any steam on the header. But I just want to... I could give you a far bigger breakdown of that game, but that will do for now, really. I just really want to... I really can't stress highly enough how... At the end, we had a real chance of winning. And I find it quite infuriating, actually. It was as if the team had licence to attack. And we did. And you know what? Had there have been another 5-10 minutes at the end of the game, we may have scored. The thing is, there was plenty of time in that game. We just needed to start doing that earlier on. And... I'd be interested to know what David Moyes' excuses will be. Maybe I'll listen to him before I do tomorrow's video, and we'll hear what he said in the press conference. I'm sure he'll be complimentary about Crystal Palace. I'm sure he'll say some lovely things about Roy Hodgson. That wasn't me passing wind, by the way. That's a chair. Can you hear? Honest governor, it was a chair. But I'm really annoyed about it. Actually, it was a lack of ambition from us, and it was an utter display of arrogance, which we thought, you know what? We're just so cocksure of ourselves. You know what? We'll go and win this in injury time or in the 89th minute again. That's how it looked. That's how it was perceived. And do you know what? We just couldn't do it. And the failure to make any real substitutes up until the 87th minute, and that was 4 hours, showed him. He's almost petrified. I could see he was looking at it thinking, oh, well, I can't take Paquetá off. He should have done. He was useless today. One good pass to Emerson, right? But we'll discuss him more tomorrow. He was looking at it thinking, oh, I can't take Kudus off. I cannot take Bowen off. I can't take any of these players off. So he did the only thing that he does do at the moment, which is take Alvarez off. I can do it. He knows I can take him off. We looked better for it after, but not because of Alvarez particularly. Listen, by the way, he almost gifted them an own goal as well. I'm not saying he was brilliant. Look, it was a poor performance, and a draw was a deserved result. Look, before I go, can I please point you in the direction of our Patreon channel? It's our third Hammers Chat channel, and we've got lots of offers at the moment. You can either try it for free for a week, Or for the next 8 days, because we've got offers running on Patreon, you can get 16% off for the whole year if you sign up annually. What is Patreon? It is our third Hammers Chat channel. We've got opposition previews, we've got breakfast shows, we've got silly podcasts, we've got sensible podcasts, as I say, analytics, Anton Ferdinand. Look, there's loads and loads of stuff on there. It's a great way for you guys to help support Hammers Chat, which allows us to run 3 YouTube channels basically, and also you get really, really big discounts to our online store. In fact, such good discounts that you'd actually even claw back the money that you spent on Patreon just by going and joining the Patreon and then going and shopping in the online store, getting your discounts, particularly before Christmas. Particularly if you've got people that you want to shop for and you need to shop for, and you are West Ham fans, you don't know what to buy them. Go and take a look at the shop. But Patreon, the link is in the description below. It's patreon.com/Hammers Chat. I'll be back tomorrow with the first of those offers, actually. So keep your eyes peeled for those. As for today, it's disappointing. I'm not furious. It's hard to be furious. It's apathy, isn't it, really, after a draw like that? But it could have been so much better, so much better. If we'd have shown the ambition that we showed in the last, I don't know, 16 minutes or whatever it might have been, including injury time, I think we'd have won that game. But it's that cautious, steady Eddie approach, which I think is strangling the life out of the players, and some of the players in particular, and I'll be discussing them tomorrow.